Hey, hi, hello guys, and welcome back to the Polaroid Promises podcast with your host Emmy. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, day, evening, and wherever you may be, I can help put a smile on that beautiful face of yours. This podcast episode, I thought I'd give you a little bit of like a brief update of any news I have before jumping straight into the topic. Nothing too exciting, but results day is looming over the horizon and steadily creeping up on us, so I'm starting to get a little bit nervous now. At the time I'm creating this, it'll literally be like less than a week until results day, so I don't know, sweating because I'm trying not to lose sleep over it, but the lead up feels quite intense. I've managed to try and build a little bit back of a routine to my everyday life, so it feels a bit less abnormal, which also means you guys should be getting more consistent, regular updates on all platforms, which I'm super happy about. So I'm a bit of a sucker for organisation and anything like that, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better. On to the more exciting news. I have signed up for my first official race at the end of the month. I'll be running a 5k Media City, and I'm super excited. I'm training hard to make sure I can perform my absolute best on race day. So I'll be making an episode dedicated to my experience with my first ever race, so you guys will be getting some updates starting September time. That is all the updates and news I have for this week, so let's get on with the episode, shall we? So this week I wanted to talk about Barbie. She's taken the world by storm. Whether you were Team Oppenheimer or Team Barbie, you've seen the clips, you've heard the music, and you've been somewhat involved in the Barbie hype, and I am absolutely obsessed. My auntie organised a date for all the girls to go and watch Barbie, but we all dressed up as different Barbies. Every single one of us understood the assignment. We had Boss Bitch Barbie, Totally Hair Barbie, iconic OG swimsuit Barbie, and just everyone went all out, and it was just slay. It was absolutely iconic. And it was so exciting getting dressed up in all pink, and I can't remember the last time I got super dressed up and went to an event, so it was just really nice to see everyone getting really involved. We went to the Backyard Cinema in Manchester to watch it, and they built everything up to look like Miami Beach, so when you went into the cinema there were rows and rows of these like beanbag chairs. They were really comfy, but the floor was all sand like Miami Beach. They even had like a jet ski in the corner of the cinema screen, so it's probably one of the coolest things I think I've done in Manchester, so if anyone's curious I'd definitely recommend it. The movie itself is not what I expected. I watched a handful of Barbie movies growing up that we had on DVD, and I watched a lot of them with my sister, so when we were kids I was expecting very similar to what we saw when we were kids, but when Barbie saves a magic land and she makes new friends and the usual like wholesomeness you get from the movies, but it just wasn't like that at all. The movie was incredibly well written and picked the perfect points to kind of like tug on your heartstrings, and then the perfect occasion to make you laugh, and it just did an amazing job of keeping you engaged throughout. I've seen a lot of people's takes online after the movie discussing their opinions and what they got from the movie, and a lot of the ones I've seen just create this universal experience and sisterhood for what like girls experience how growing up and how important it is that we acknowledge that. And I think the movie can effectively convey this message because it's so self-reflexive and it has that constant awareness of what it's trying to do and show the audience. Also, mini side note, I don't think I've ever felt so safe in Manchester City Centre at night than when I was surrounded by lots of Barbies, and I very much enjoyed getting to say hi Barbie and bye Barbie all night long. It just felt so much more special after watching the movie because the message was so fresh in my head. So I'm not like 100% where I read this online, but I saw someone describe the Barbie movie as a love letter to all women, and there's literally like isn't a better way to describe it. With the dynamics created between the characters in the show, the most notable for me was like the mother-daughter like dynamic that occurs between Barbie and America Ferrera's character Gloria. So we know like we know from Sasha's character that Gloria is like the mum who feels very disconnected from her daughter. She's growing up and she's getting more independent, and she's getting to that teenage phase where you're just too cool and just hate everyone and everything for no reason. So Gloria's starting to like struggle with that reality, and she starts projecting onto like the Barbie dolls that she saved from her daughter when they had at home, and to her they're like this really sentimental reminder of like a special time of her daughter. So when she meets Barbie in the real world, personally I felt like it was like those little special memories that gave her a sense of responsibility to help and like support Barbie, which is like, you could argue it's kind of like comparable the way the Barbie doll helped Gloria create such like warm playtime memories with her daughter, and it kind of creates like a little bit of like an opposition between Gloria and her daughter Sasha initially, because when Barbie like first introduced herself to Sasha, Sasha's really critical of Barbie, and she criticises the way she makes girls insecure and sets unrealistic standards for them to achieve. And like in turn, like it shocks Barbie, because Barbie in Barbie Land and the Barbies in Barbie Land, just they thought that they were doing everything they could to help women and be supportive. And Margot Robbie's like Barbie just turns around, she's like, but I'm supposed to help you. And like it's this moment in the movie, from what I've seen people discussing, in my opinion, is criminally underrated, because I've heard a lot of opinions argue that this is Mattel like firing shots at the Bratz dolls. So the argument for this is that Sasha being one of the iconic 4 Bratz dolls and the rest of the girls represent the different dolls at the table. And I guess like it makes sense, because I guess like in terms of like a commercial standpoint, the Bratz dolls are like one of the biggest competitions for the Barbie dolls, like for Mattel. But I don't know, I feel like it references the Bratz dolls to be like positive and like pay homage to like another young toy that girls can find empowering, like the Barbie dolls. Because like, let's be honest, like this is a very girl power movie. They're not gonna sit and like tear down anything. Like it's supposed to be super supportive, so I feel like it's a very positive thing that they reference that. And it's almost like a wake-up call at this stage in the movie. Like Barbie was always meant to be empowering. She's the girl who can do and has done it all. She's got lots of friends who she loves to make happy. She's an amazing big sister who loves spending time with little sisters. She's been a mermaid, she's been a fairy, ballerina, a princess. She's been in A Christmas Carol. She's been to the moon. She just represents opportunity and what women can be capable of. And that's why this scene's so important, because it was a perception of Barbie that in the movies represented by Sasha that took away from what Barbie was supposed to be. And all along she was just someone to help us, but we kind of like took away from that. And Barbie learns really quickly in the real world how human perception can be quite damaging, especially when she and Ken are roller skating down the street and Ken starts to feel really empowered and accepted, and he has this like new sense of pride, whereas Barbie, for the first time, she's feeling really anxious and really insecure, and she's experienced these emotions for the first time, like all women experience when growing up. And throughout the movie, Barbie becomes more and more exposed to these experienced emotions, and it becomes really identifiable for all women, because it's like Greta Gerwig is giving our younger selves a hug and saying like, it's okay, you're not alone. Like, look, Barbie's going through it too. I get it. We get it. So, but for me, it was the monologue we hear from America Ferrera that is just so crucial in this movie. And it just kind of sets everything to follow the first time we hear this monologue in place perfectly. It's just the first, like, direct acknowledgement in the movie, in my opinion, that immediately addresses the issues. Like no cutting to the chase, no slight references. Like it's very much hinted at. Well, maybe not hinted at because it is still quite direct, but in terms of the characters acknowledging it and not just being represented in a way to stage the idea to the audience, I would argue it is the first direct acknowledgement, but it just immediately directs all issues that women have to face growing up through to adult life. And that is the love letter to all women in the theatre, and each and every line is straight to the point, and it just becomes more and more powerful as it goes on. And I remember hearing it in the cinema room and immediately feeling understood. Like the movie was just like communicating to me as like an individual, like looking back on the emotion I felt there, and then the cinema just kind of blows me away even more how effective this movie is to be able to make me feel heard as an individual, but discussing the universal experience of sisterhood. It proves just how accessible these characters are to personally identify with. And now there is an incredible amount of content I have yet to discuss, but there is one moment in the current vibe of the discussion that I refuse to not include, and this is the scene towards the end of the Barbie movie that includes the montage and the discussion with Ruth, who tells us that Barbie wasn't supposed to have an ending, and she chose being a woman and just to welcome all the suffering that comes with being a woman, which just highlights how beautiful it is. What makes it so beautiful is emphasised by the montage of these real life women experiences. And the quote that stayed with me the most from this part of the movie was, We mothers stand still so our daughters can look back and see how far they've come. And it's a reminder of all the sacrifices that mums and grandmas and nanas make so we can grow, and we don't get to stay in Barbie land forever, because that's like our childhood when everything's really perfect and it's really happy and really warm, and at some point we have to grow up and we stop being little girls and become women and face the real world, which is it's really scary. It's scary to go from girlhood to womanhood, where we have to face certain standards and challenges born from like society's expectations of women. My mum's my biggest cheerleader, and she always has been, and she's been to every school play, every assembly, every sports event. She's hosted birthday parties and play dates, and she dedicated so much time to making sure growing up was just fun and special. And I'm at a stage in my life where I'm slowly becoming an adult and growing into womanhood, but it's nice to, when watching this movie, to just kind of like, it forces you to acknowledge just how much your mum does for me to get to this stage. So, I mean, I guess as I keep growing up, I'll be just fine with the girls and mum supporting me. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the Barbie movie just as much as I did. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section on the movie, or feel free to share any of your takes on the Barbie movie. I'm aware that there is a lot in this movie that I wasn't able to cover everything, because I would be here for hours, but I would be more than happy to make another Barbie episode where I discuss more themes and ideas in the movie, like focus on the Kens and their experience, and even like other potential references to the old school Barbie movies, like the Pegasus references and the locket at the end of the movie. There's so much that I'm still would love to talk about, so if you guys would like to hear that, then please do let me know. And if you would like to hear more from me in the week, please do check out my Instagram and TikTok, both at ep.5 for more regular updates. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week.